So Jack A. Daniels is a man of many titles. He writes books. He's what are you, a psychotherapist?
Psychotherapist, yeah.
You are an entrepreneur. You are a motivational speaker. You're a counselor. I mean, you do so many things that if he gave you his business card, it would be letter, the information on the front and the back, and it would probably be the size of a postcard. So,
Right, right,
but
right.
he's with us now, and he's got a book out called "I Need a Wife. Where Are the Real Women?"
Man.
And I gotta say, man, a book like this, it'll ruffle some feathers, man. But I mean, I'm happily married to a beautiful woman. Been with
Yeah.
her for over 26 years. We've been married about 19 years, and
Okay.
so I'm a little bit out of the game, but I do have questions. And do women expect too much from men?
You know what? It's not the expectation. It's just more about the connection.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found with this project, this is my fifth book.
Okay.
And we've taken this everywhere across the country. And what we kind of wanted to do was discover what's going on and why we're disconnecting. Because I interviewed over 1,000 men for the background of this book, and a lot of the guys are saying, "Hey, I'm single, I'm successful, I'm ready to be married, but I can't find quality women." So I don't think it's that women are expecting too many things. I think that it's actually the reverse. Men have some very high expectations of what the one is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to look like.
Now,
So
are the expectations, are they raised because we see these beautiful women on TV and in movies
woo.
and stuff, and we think that's the kind of woman we want? I mean, these
Yeah,
reality TV women, these shows and all that. We want a beautiful woman like that because if that's the case, it's not really realistic.
and that's the thing. There's so many times that we've been, I tell people I think the internet and social media was the worst thing that could happen for men.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah,
serious because we're already confused.
right.
We already have like tons of options. And back in the day when I was growing up, in order for me to get with a girl, I had to call and, get a number, call her, and her mama would answer the phone. And then she'd be like, "I'm on the phone. You can't talk to her." And when I did want to talk to her, I talked to her. And, some of the times when we used to get that black tape and
Mm-hmm.
write slow jams on it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
listen to the radio at the quiet storm and try to
Right,
get that song just about right.
right.
But right now, our options are so great. And in the book, I talk about how the options actually offset the opportunities because you're always looking for the next best thing, and that fantasy and is sort of delusional for a lot of men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking with Jack A. Daniels about his book. He wants to know where all the good women at,
Mm,
and they're there. But I guess men, on some level, though, are looking for a trophy wife, someone that
ooh,
they don't mind having on their arm. And in some cases, in some circles, depending on who you ask, a lot of women will say, "Well, that must mean he want a white woman." Now,
oh no,
how
oh.
does that play into that, man? You've heard it before.
Yeah, we went around the country and we did these symposiums, 14 cities, over 19,000 people, and we really had men on the symposiums to so that people can understand where we're coming from. And that platform is so valid for men because we don't get a chance to really speak. I
Right,
mean, you look at the magazines, the media, the marketing, and you read an article about what a man wants, and you scroll down to the bottom of it, and some woman wrote it.
right.
So a lot of times men didn't get an opportunity to say what it is that they're looking for. So the trophy wife thing, I don't think it's as popular as some people think. Men are looking for, and in the book, I kind of made a collection and a collaborative effort of what a real woman actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's broken down into real in an acronym. She's realistic about her relationship expectations. She's emotionally available, meaning that she's thrown her past in the trash. She's aligned with the man's vision, meaning that we can't have two visions in a household. That means division.
Mm-hmm.
And then the L stands for she's loyal, loving, and will not demoralize, despise, and degrade herself and or our relationship. So I think that's what classifies a real woman and what a lot of guys typically are looking for.
Do you think we have a false sense of expectation, maybe because a lot of us didn't grow up with a two-parent household? A lot of
Yeah.
guys don't know how. And I looked at some of your videos on your website,
Hmm.
and some of the women would say all men want is sex. They were
Hmm.
saying men don't know how to court. They don't know how to
Right.
court a woman.
Right.
And is that part of the reason for that because maybe we didn't see that growing up? I mean, I
Yeah.
happen to have benefited from a love story involving my mother and my late father that
Yeah.
went on for 55 years, and
Wow.
that woman was everything to my father up until he died, and I know he still loves her. And so I saw that,
Hmm.
and I made my mistakes. I've been married twice,
Sure.
but are we not, because we didn't see that, because girls turn into women not seeing a,
Yeah.
a loving relationship, men didn't see a grown man when they were boys? Does that play into
No,
it at all?
it
My point is
does.
this: is because then we have a false expectation of what we're looking
Absolutely.
for.
Absolutely. And it plays a lot in the role. And what I find that's very important, I did this focus group, and I think that there are a lot of people that have no clue as to what the blueprint looks like. So I did, in doing the interviews, I did a lot of symposiums, I did focus groups, and I did surveys. And there was a particular focus group that we did that I don't really like traditional questions. I wanted to dive deeper into what it means to actually be a man and to connect in some of these relationships. So I asked the question. It was a room full of 30 guys. And I asked the question, Tony, how many of you, by show of hands, have had sex with a woman that you're not married to and have on purpose tried to get her pregnant? 28 out of the 30 hands in the room went up.
Wow.
I know. And as a therapist, I'm like, why?
I was going to say, I know you had to ask, why do you do that? What did they
Yeah.
say?
And it goes to everything that you're saying in terms of never seeing role models. So there was one guy that said, hey, I'm getting older and I don't want to be the grandpa at the baseball games. So, it's kind of typical. Or another guy's like, well, she looked good and she'd probably have a great child for me. Typical guy type answers. But then there were some deeper seated things that some of these guys were carrying around, like, I never had a father in my life. So
Hmm.
I never understood what it meant to be a man. So the only way that I understood was to have as many babies as I possibly could. And that's what he did. He had 5 babies by 4 different women.
Wow.
But then there was an even deeper seated one. A guy says, when I was growing up, my mother told me that don't you ever bring anything as dark as you into this house. And
Whoa.
and what he did was the first interracial relationship that he could find, he went out and he tried to get that woman pregnant just so he can make his mother proud.
Wow.
So there's some deeper seated things that a lot of men are carrying around that people just don't know. And
Mm.
that's what this project was about, was exposing some of the truths that us as men, by giving us a platform so we can be able to better understand how to connect to each other in terms of our relationships.
Well, on my radio show, we've done a segment called therapy, and a lot of it has to do with relationships. It can be
Yeah.
about anything. You're familiar with it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and what I've noticed is when someone is in a relationship that is failing, a lot of times part of the reason is because they brought baggage from an old relationship
Hmm.
into this.
Absolutely.
So how do you stop that? How do you make a conscious effort not to bring that baggage to what could possibly be the love of your life?
True. And what I tell people is there's a process for men understanding themselves. And this is the I Need a Wife, Where the Real Women is a blueprint for helping men understand how to get to that point of commitment. And it's a peek under the tent for women,
Hmm.
for them to better understand some of the questions that they need to be asking. And some of the things, and I know I probably told you this before some years ago, but when guys are dating, we typically place women into 3 categories. There's the freak, the
Hmm.
friend, and the forever.
Right.
Now, what's problematic is that there are a lot of women who think that they're the forever woman, but they're really the freak.
Right.
And the way to be able to eliminate that process is to ask the question. There are a lot
Hmm.
of women that never ask the question. They just assume that you're going to be with me and I'm going to be with you, and I don't care about what you had going on. But the reality is that you have to ask the question. Define who I am to you. And can I tell women real quick how to do that?
Sure.
Um, Okay, so ladies, what you do is you simply ask the guy the question. Say, baby, am I your freak? Am I your friend? Or am I your forever? And now here's the thing. You can't ask them via text, no emails, no Twitter, Facebook, phone calls. You have to do it while you're in person with him, in front of his face, and ask him, and don't put your hand on your hip,
Hmm.
don't shake your head, weave your neck, anything like that. Wait for his answer. But here's the thing, Tony,
Hmm.
the answer is not going to be the answer. The answer is going to come in his body language because,
I always say that. Look for
oh
the
yeah,
body
look
language.
for the body because a guy, a real slick guy, is
Yeah.
going to be like, well, baby, you know you all three to me.
Yeah, that is true. That is
But
true.
But look for his body language. Look, is he fidgeting? Is he sweating? Is he uncomfortable? Is he dragging it out? That's going to give you the information that you sort of need. So when
Right.
you're carrying baggage into a relationship, I think there are a lot of different ways that you can kind of counteract whether or not that person is actually for you.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have a series of questions that I like to ask people because it's a lot of hard questions that people don't like to think about. They just like to think about the fact that, oh, I like this person,
Mhm.
he likes me, and we're going to be together forever.
Mhm.
But as you know, in a 26-year marriage, it's a whole lot more to it than just, I like you.
Well, no, I mean, I've learned there's give and take. Sometimes you got
Yeah.
to take one for the team. Sometimes, sometimes you have to be selfish. Sometimes, and
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and sometimes, and sometimes you always have to be willing to compromise.
Hmm.
And you have to. I mean, it's a constant work. That's what. And I always tell my kids this: anything in life that's good, we celebrate. Do you know why we
Mm,
celebrate it? Because it was hard to get.
yeah.
And it's hard to get someone who you're compatible with, someone who accepts you and your faults. It's
Right.
hard to find someone who's going to love you like that. And when you find someone like that, you will do whatever you can. Now, having said that, there comes a point where you will have to cut your losses if it gets to be bad enough. But these days, I guess my question now is this: are single people, are they too quick to end a relationship, or even to start, or are they too quick to move fast? Because I know people that date each other 2 weeks later. They're having sex. 6 weeks later, they're moving in
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. And you can't, like I tell people all the time, sex is a drug. And I got to tell you, I mean, when you're having sex, it creates oxytocins in your mind.
Hmm.
And that creates a heightened level of sensitivity and connection to a person that you may not even be destined to be with.
Right.
But because you have that connection, because you've created that high or that pleasure, it tells you that everything else is off the table. Forget about all of your flaws, your faults, and your failures. As long as you can make me feel good,
Hmm.
everything else is going to be okay. But you can't. I mean, I'll tell you like an old man told me. He didn't say it in these words. I'm gonna soften it up a little bit. But for men, you can't screw your problems away. And
Yeah.
and oftentimes as men we like to think that we can because it's one of those pleasurable things
Right.
and we make connections based on that physical interaction, but the truth is you knew that you should have been going out of that relationship 3 days into it,
Yeah.
but because she had some good,
Hmm.
you stuck around, or
Hmm.
because he had some good, you
Yeah.
stuck around. But if people are truly honest with themselves about what it is that they really want, I mean, you know, chalk it up as a loss and keep moving on. And I think that what women have to understand and do a little bit better is that, you got to realize dating doesn't equal sex. I mean,
Well, there's the great blurred line, though, is because
yeah,
people equate that. Well, and a lot of times, sex makes everything go away. But
right.
but it's like drinking. When you wake up in the morning,
It's still there.
it's still there, and you got a headache.
Yeah.
So and we forget about that. And I'm really starting to believe that it all goes back to we didn't have a role model. We didn't have anything to base how
Right.
we perceive a relationship as. We had to find out on our own. We make one mistake after another and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in the book, I'm wondering. I mean, women, like there was one woman in your video
Hmm.
who said, "I got enough male friends. I'm not taking any more
Oh
applications."
yeah. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
almost seems like, one, she was frustrated.
Hmm.
Two, she was bragging that I can have the pick of the litter. I don't need any more partners. I'm good.
Yeah.
And three is when a man sees something like that, a lot of times we'll walk away from it because it ain't worth the hassle. There are high maintenance relationships that a
Whoa.
lot of times are not
Yeah.
not worth your time. Even
Man.
friendships, high maintenance friendships, sometimes are
Hmm.
not worth your time. You know,
There are there
go
there
ahead.
are a lot of guys who, I mean, I've talked to a lot of men, and I wear this shirt I don't know if you can see it. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I've
You
seen
see
it on
it?
your videos.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's called it's I Need a Wife on my t-shirts. And everywhere I go, believe it or not, there are more men that comment on this shirt than women. There are more guys that's like, yo, man, that's a cool shirt, man. I understand. I mean, we don't compliment. Hey, you look good in that shirt. No,
Yeah.
it's not nothing like
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah. I
more like
understand.
I get you. I mean,
Right.
I understand because we're all looking for that one.
Hmm.
And even though we put a whole lot of them in the barrel, and hopefully she can equal that one, but we're most men innately know that they're looking for that one that kind of completes them. But to get a woman who is, and I think one of the questions that you were kind of getting to is that when you're talking about high maintenance women, um, I asked the question: are self-sufficient, independent women a threat to men? And when you have to deal with a woman who has everything, you have to deal with a woman who really doesn't need you. I had a client before that told me that I have a contract for everything that I need in my life. I mean, I have someone to cut my grass, I have someone to do my car and cook for me and all of that. What do I really need a man for? And what's really remarkable is that I asked the question when I'm doing these workshops across the country is, how many women have ever heard a man say that they don't need a woman? None of the people raised their hands. But when I asked how many times have you heard a woman say, or how many times have you said that you don't need a man, it's probably 90% of the
Right.
audience raises their hand. So, I mean, it's really a collaborative effort. And I'm doing this wonderful initiative called Mate Attraction, MATE Attraction. And it's really teaching people how to better interact. Like you said, we didn't have role models and we didn't have blueprints to go on. So it's really teaching how do you really interact in a relationship and what are some of the things that you can do to better position yourself for love and to stop chasing and start attracting who it is that you really want into your life versus just repeating the same cycles over and over and over
Right,
again.
right, right. Jack A. Daniels has a book I call "I Need a Wife." Where are the real women at? Now, having
Yeah.
as we wrap up here, man, let me ask you this: how hard is it for you, Jack A. Daniels, to find a woman when I mean, women have to be somewhat intimidated because you have all this information, you have all this, you know the
Yeah.
game, you know. So
Yeah.
how hard is it for you to find someone?
Well, it's I'm not gonna say it's hard, but I'll say this. Uh, you see, Tammy didn't come to this interview again.
Well,
Every time I come on your show, Tammy gone.
well, yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah,
this,
no, 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 no. See, uh-huh. I
yeah,
tell her I was looking for her, but
yeah.
she gone every time.
Well,
No, I'm
but
just playing.
that is true. A couple of times we've had you on the show, she happened to be either
Yeah.
on vacation or off for whatever reason. But
No,
and
I'm just
I know, I
playing.
know, I
But
know, I know.
yeah, tell her I'm looking for you, Tam. No, just but no, I think that in the beginning, in terms of having all the information, I mean, I have a wonderful woman in my life,
Okay.
but in terms of like being intimidated, it takes a strong woman to be with someone like me,
I mean, she
because
has to be your intellectual equal
oh yeah,
on a lot of
yeah,
levels.
I mean, um, because I come into contact with so many different women. 75% of my clientele are women,
Hmm.
and when I'm going in workshop.
Now that 75%, how many are vulnerable when they come to you?
Oh, well, I mean, everybody's vulnerable when they come to me. They call me, they actually call me the crying man. It's like, like you come to me,
Yeah.
you're pretty much gonna get it all
Right.
out.
Right. Right.
But it's not the vulnerability. It's more about getting them to understand how to move forward in their lives and what it is that they're challenged with. So for me, it's never been an issue in terms of taken advantage of, because that's a really fragile place for people to be in, and for you to divulge all of your information and pour your soul out. Literally, you're trusting me, and I hold that in the highest regards, because that's what God gave me as a gift, and I take that really heavily. So I see a lot of high profile people, a lot of politicians and business executives, but and then I got a lot of celebrities that you see on television all the time, quite
Right.
frequently.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I believe in love, and I believe that everyone should have it. So I'm really trying my best to like push it out there. This message is so important to me,
Sure.
and I'm coming to St. Louis,
Yeah, I
and
saw that you planned towards the end of July, right?
yeah, no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
oh,
It's like
there's a
it's
new date.
next week.
Oh, okay.
It's next week. It's going
Okay.
to be May 31st and June 1st,
Oh, okay.
and we're going to be at the Sheraton Hotel. in Clayton.
Okay.
So really going to be talking about all of these topics. We're going to have a panel discussion of
Very good.
guys,
Yeah.
and Brandy Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter,
Yeah.
is actually going to be moderating the panel. And then on Saturday from 3 to 6 is just going to be me solo, giving you all of the secrets to everything you possibly know. And the title to that seminar is called "Are You the Freak, the Friend, or the Forever?"
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It's interesting that you bring up Brandy because Steve and I we go back a long way, and I always talk about how much I love my wife. I talk
Yeah,
about it on the radio. I'll tell anybody I love this woman with every breath of my body, right? And a
yeah.
lot of men will call and say, "Dude, you're weak. You're weak.
Oh
You're weak.
no.
You're weak." Right? So I was talking to Steve about that one time because you know how he feels about Marjorie.
Right, right, right,
Right.
right.
I mean, and he said that when people tell, he wears that as a badge of honor. When guys
Yeah,
get on him about that, about loving his wife, it's a badge of honor because she is everything to him, as my wife is
yeah.
to me. You know,
And that's
and
and that's what every man wants. Believe it or not, that fact that he's talking about you weak, he's wishing he
yeah,
were in your position. He
yeah,
wish he had a woman
yeah,
that loved him.
yeah.
Because I'll tell you, and what a lot of guys don't realize is that most men were nothing until their wives came into their lives. I mean, not to
True.
say that you didn't really have
No,
anything,
it's true though. It's true though.
but
My wife, the reason why I've had the success that I've had in all my years of knowing her that I've been in radio is because
yeah,
she has taken care of everything so that
that's what
I
I'm talking
can
about.
concentrate on this. So
Right.
it's been a team effort, and for that
Yeah.
I will always be eternally grateful for. I mean, I've had men say, "Man, you got to turn to your player card." I'm like, "I'm married. I ain't got no player card. I'm a married man. I ain't no married
Right.
man. You know, married man have a player card. If he does,
Right.
shame on
That's
him."
gone.
So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
gone.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the book is called "I Need a Wife." Where are the real women at? I'll put a link below if you want to pick up a copy of it. There it is, right there, and the website where people can find out more about you coming to St. Louis.
You know what? I actually go. Wow, I forgot the name of the website
Is
because
it? Let me see. Let me see if I can
it's
pull it.
someone that's promoting this thing, and they're gonna kill me for that. But
I see goodwomenonly.com.
yeah, goodwomenonly.com. You can definitely go there, and I'll actually post some stuff on that one as well.
Okay.
But also, can I give something away for free?
Sure.
Okay, so if you go to mateattraction.com, MATE attraction.com, I'm giving away a free video series on how to stop chasing and start attracting the love you deserve.
I heard
And
that.
it's totally free. You don't risk anything, it's no cost to you. It's 3 videos. Hundreds of people have participated in this thing, and I'm only challenging people to do better and be better. It's
Okay.
all about connecting our community and rebuilding and reestablishing the families that we have because it's so important because we're losing this whole race and I can't stand for it.
I heard
So
that.
mateattraction.com. Go there and you'll get all the information that you need. But also go to goodwomenonly.com to find out information about when I'm coming. But Sheraton Hotel in Clayton on Friday, May 31st and Saturday, June the 2nd. And you can pay at the door too.
Well, if it's Friday, May 31st, and then June 2nd is going to be a Sunday. So
June 1st. I'm sorry, man.
I was like, unless there's some new information that I haven't got about how this whole thing works. But very good. Very. We'll put
That's
all that
why
information in
that's
the
why
show
you
notes.
do what you do.
Jack A. Daniels, man, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me and thank you for doing what you're doing, man. I gotta tell you, I love you and you're doing a phenomenal. I gotta tell y'all something about Tony real quick. Um, I've done hundreds of shows, but I will say this about Tony. One of my first books that came out, it was The Man's Handbook for Choosing the Right Woman.
I
I was in
remember that.
St. Louis and Tony had me on, and it was the only time that I've sold out of stores because no, this is true. Tony said, "Go buy the book,"
Yeah.
and I got calls all across the city that the book was sold out in every store. And not only that, but I commend you on being dedicated to your job and your role and responsibility because, like I said, I've been on a lot of shows, and you actually read the book
Mm-hmm.
before I came on,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, nobody does that.
Well, you know what? Because I hate to not have enough information.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so but I appreciate the kind words, man. It's very
Oh
nice of
man,
you.
I love you. I'll never forget
Thank you,
you as
man.
long as I live. But
I appreciate
you
that.
the man. And tell Tammy, stop being so scared of me, girl.
That's Jack A. Daniels, y'all. Thanks, man.
All right, take care.